Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. And on this COTC, we've got the second worst team at home playing the team with the second worst record away from home. Though the team playing at home did have a great away record until this weekend. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Tottenham Hotspur correspondent. It's Ricky Saunders. Hey, Ricky.
Tired, confused, pissed off, annoyed, fed up, all of those things. But otherwise, tickety boo, mate. Thank you.
Good stuff. Our Fulham correspondent, Lewis Jones, in. Hey, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm normally the more negative person in this call, but I feel like I've got to be the positive one here because there's not a lot of positivity coming from you two.
No, there's probably not. Most of you will have heard most of what I'd say on Monday's podcast. We are pre-recording this on Monday night, so it's still pretty fresh. Ricky, where do you want to start? We'll start with Mr. Thomas Frank.
Yeah, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way straight away. Um, I'm I'm still well, look when he was appointed. I wasn't expecting that this was going to be our next manager for the next 5 years. I wasn't expecting the club to roar up the table. I was looking more for stability and not to do what we did last year. I think it's become quite apparent, and not even results, mate, performance-wise, that this is going to be a lot shorter term than when we all thought. And I don't mean he's going to get sacked by Christmas, but we're maybe a season, 2 seasons at the most, looking to move him on. This is not the solution. This is more of a stopgap towards something else. Performances are awful. The setup, picking on the game yesterday. You've been calling it out for a long time about playing a back five or three centre backs, and he did it. And do you know what? I think it's the right thing to do, tactically wise. And we've been playing three forwards in games for ages now, right? And most teams do as well. But to do both of those things in the same game and leave two men in midfield against Arsenal, what was that? Why did we feel that we could control that midfield with two players, and one of them's not particularly that good at being a midfielder anyway?
Which one?
Well, Palhinha. He's great at stopping people getting past him, but he's not going to win a ball and then play it through the middle, or spot a player. His range of passing is poor at best. He's great at say stopping the play and blocking it, but do you need him there when you've got three centre backs potentially? I don't know. But to play two men in the midfield against the best team by a mile in the league is crazy. I thought there's just inviting trouble. There's no lethargic, no press, no urgency, no fight, no aggression, just nothing. We didn't give it a go. I think they said after the first half, 22 touches in the opposition half.
The whole is that
22
the whole game?
touches. No, that was after the first half.
Okay,
Like 22
could have been the
touches.
old game for what I watched, but
But you know what? It possibly maybe got up to about 23, 24 by full time. But I'm not sure what the game plan was other than to soak it all up. Maybe that was the idea, but we wouldn't. If you're going to soak it all up, show some aggression, have some fight, and we didn't have any of that. We didn't give it a go at all, and that is look. You can understand it. Look, we're probably going to do the same against PSG, right? And you understand that they're a much better team than us, and we're going to have to try and catch them on the break and whatever else. But this is Arsenal. This is our biggest game of the season. It's our biggest rivals, and to have no fight against that team is criminal. And I don't know what was going on there. I don't know what the message that he delivered at a pre-game, half-time. I don't know what the message was, but it wasn't heard, or it just wasn't implemented very well, or it was shit. I don't know.
have you listened to the game review pod?
No, I have. I listened.
No,
I'm up to.
that's all right. You don't have to say anymore.
Oh right, okay, yeah. No,
I mean,
I'm still on
you,
Saturday's
you
games at the
probably
moment.
don't want to hear it, but one of the things I suggested was that I felt that there was a chance that the players, that Frank didn't want to set up that way, and the players essentially rebelled because they got frightened. Because Thomas Frank teams, one of the things I've always said about his Brentford teams are they press really well. Then if it
Yeah,
doesn't work, they
quickly.
get back into position really quick.
Yeah.
Right? Tottenham put no form of aggressive press onto that yesterday. And I couldn't see this from my ship view behind the goal, but lots of people keep saying to me, Frank was urging them to press quite a lot during the game, and they weren't doing it.
That's concerning rather than us just being shit and the tactics not working.
Yeah, it's
If
almost
he is,
worse.
yeah, I mean, if he's got, it's eminently worse, mate. Maybe he will be gone by Christmas, then if that's the case, because if the players aren't listening to him, and look, bearing in mind, right, these are players that have been very poorly coached over a succession of managers. We've now got a manager that actually is a good coach, and tactically he's very, very good, and he's the best tactician that we've had for quite a long time. But if they're not listening to that, how do they expect to be better than what they have been and achieve more than what they have been achieving? His in-game management was something that we've been crying out for a long time, and we all agreed that Thomas Frank that was one of his strong points. If he's trying to do it and they're not listening, you can't blame him from that point of view. But the buck's going to stop in one place, and it's going to be him without a job soon if this carries on.
Yeah, if that is what happened, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying it is, but if that is what happened, yeah, it's worse because they've not followed the instruction.
And
I don't believe that the intention was just to sit there and play wing backs just completely like fullbacks and not try and push up the pitch. I think he tried to alleviate the problem with the two in midfield by almost chucking Kudus in and kind of giving Arsenal free reign on the left hand side. Yet we got completely dominated on Saka's side, which is understandable because of how
yeah,
good he is. Yeah, it's just a car crash.
but if that is the case, and yeah, let's stress that it's some speculation or summation of what people have seen. I'm sorry, these players aren't fucking good enough to be dictating that kind of thing. When you are at the top of your game and you're one of the best players in the world, then maybe you can do that. You know your position, know your role, and do what your manager says. They're not good enough to be rejecting the manager's views like that if that's what's happened.
So, in summary, you think Thomas Frank is a manager in position for a transitional period, i.e., to get us from Ange to someone else, and he's the man in between.
Yeah, I mean, I think I certainly I, I wasn't expecting us to win the league. I don't expect us to ever win the league, but to be in a position to mount title challenges, I didn't really see that under Frank. I saw more of him bringing stability to the club, getting players disciplined, drilled, because we know the kind of coach that he is. I with the performances, and it goes way back before Arsenal. Our perform even when we've been winning, our performances haven't been great. Uh, and it's become fairly obvious that he's not a long-term manager. And I say, like, I don't say he's going to get sacked by Christmas or even this year, but he's not going to be the manager that's going to lead us through a 5-year transition.
Okay.
It's not going to be him
Devil's
based
advocate.
on that, on what I've seen
He,
so far this season.
I don't disagree with you. Devil's advocate. He hasn't had his best striker all season. He hasn't really had a number 10 in the sense of Kulusevski's not played yet this season.
Yeah,
What about once you bring players like that back in?
totally agree. Like Kulusevski, Madison, Solanke, these have been big misses, but he's been given a playmaker and a good one in Xavi Simons, and he's bugging about on the fucking left all the time. It's not going to affect the game as much from over there. Our massive problem is creativity. You've got a creative person, and you're putting him in the far corner of the pitch. Get him in the middle of the pitch. Get him doing some creative work there.
Could Marco Silva get a call soon? Do you think, Lewis?
No, no.
Ricky Saunders
So,
having that.
sorry, Lewis. No, that's trading one short-term manager for another short-term manager. No,
Is that
I
right? Is that right, Lewis? Can
Um,
you see Marco Silva? I'm not trying to take him out your club, but Marco Silva has been linked with other jobs over the last year or so, and I think has done very well at Fulham. Is it scalable up for him, do you think? Because I think he's ambitious, isn't he? It's fair to say.
yeah, I mean, obviously his contract's up at the end of the season. I think if he doesn't stay, it's because either he's had a disagreement with the board about funds, which is something that he's always on about, or he's got a better opportunity. Um, I think I do think
Thank
that
you for not saying I don't
Tottenham.
think Tottenham is it. Cheers, mate. We
No, like
appreciate that.
I don't think Tottenham. I think the manager that you're talking about maybe it isn't where Tottenham are right now. Like, I don't think you can go and get one of the best managers right now. But I think Marco is similar to Frank. Marco's a nicer man than Frank. That's a given. Um, but Marco's had a very small squad at Fulham, and not a lot of money's been spent on it, and he manages to get 110, 115% out of players that probably aren't good enough. Um, and you're obviously saying that, Tottenham aren't exactly in the league of Arsenal right now, and maybe they do need a manager who can get 110% out of what they are right now. So maybe it would work. Obviously Ricky
I think
doesn't
people were
appreciate
expecting
it.
at least that from Frank. And obviously, there's disappointment that you didn't get that on
Yeah.
Sunday. There was speculation about Silva himself, particularly during the first week of the international break. There was even a report went around on the Monday that like there might be a complete break here, like now. What's going on? Is the situation stable or not?
According to Silver, it is. You got asked obviously a lot of questions about it pre-Sunderland. I think he was obviously disappointed with how the summer went. He said that we'd been planning for the summer since January, and then not to spend any money until deadline day for any club, but a Premier League club is, it's crazy. Um, so I think I think he wants reassurances from the board, and I think the board want reassurances from him because I don't think they particularly want to give him money in January if he's gone in 6 months. So I think something has to give, but I think Silver said that he's not very good to deal with. He wants what he wants, and that's fine. I just think I said it in the Slack as well. I think regardless of whether he leaves at the end of the season, like if we keep Silva this season, there's no chance we get relegated.
Okay.
You could if you look at like Forest, they brought in manager and it didn't work. They brought in Ange, it didn't work. So there's not a guarantee that bringing a new manager in is gonna work. So I would just keep Silva regardless. If he leaves, then he's done the club well. We're a stable, competitive club in the Premier League. He took over and we were a yo-yo club. Um, so I think he's ready for the next challenge. I hope he doesn't, obviously. Um, but yeah, I don't see him leaving.
What's
I
what's
just don't see the
potentially
board.
what's potentially holding the club back then? Because it does sound like the way you're selling that is if his ambition is matched as in constant progression, then
Yeah.
there's no reason to think unless he gets a super job offer, he's going to go. Fair enough. Contract's up at the end of the season. What's holding Fulham back? Is it the ownership?
I
Because
think
there
it's a
seem
couple of
you're saying
things.
there's a reluctance to commit and spend to him if he's
I
going to
don't I
potentially
don't
walk away.
particularly think it's a commitment to spend. I think it's so obviously the new stand it only opened fully this season, so we haven't had any of the corporate revenue that comes with the new stand. So that obviously helps. And also, we've got players that are on. When we first got promoted, our model was get experienced Premier League players in to steady the ship. The likes of your Gimenez's, your Adamas. Like Adama was a free transfer, but I think he's one of the highest earners at the club. His contract's up in the summer, so is Gimenez's. And I think it was like 89% of our wage bill we were already paying before the summer started. So I don't think it's a lack of wanting to spend. I think it's more of a not being able to spend. We have a lot of players leaving in the summer, a lot of older players leaving in the summer, which they'll be one of the highest earners at the club. So we might be more flexible in the summer. I think that might basically be what it is. Have extra
But I
revenue
suppose if
and
they don't
lower
back
wage.
him in January, he's not going to put pen to paper, is he?
Probably not. I mean, to be honest, I've not thought. I mean, even before the summer started last summer, I thought he wasn't going to stay
Okay.
after this contract anyway. So, um, yeah, unless they do say, look, we're spending 90% of our wage bill right now. That was before like Kevin, for example, who will be on a decent wage himself. Um, they might say our wage bill is only going to be 55% going into the summer. You're going to have a lot more flexibility. We've got extra revenue, you'll be able to spend this much. Then maybe you will, but I don't see him. I think they will spend in January because I think we need a midfielder. Got rid of Pereira, and we've obviously had injuries in the middle of the pitch because that's how it goes. Um, so I think we'll be trying to get a midfielder and possibly a striker.
Okay. How concerning, Lewis, is this away form?
I'm not really concerned if I'm honest.
It's
Um,
5 straight defeats on the road since a late leveler at Brighton opening day.
yeah, I mean, I think we've been unlucky to be honest. Like the Brighton game was, I mean, if you watch the game, it was just such a clear 0-0. So when they scored a penalty, I mean, we didn't deserve to score, but we didn't deserve to lose. So I thought 1-1 was a fair result. And the next away game was Chelsea, that we don't have to keep going on about the Chelsea game.
Oh no, that would be the whole podcast if we talked about the Josh King
That
disallowed goal. Yeah.
that like again we were unlucky in that game. The game changes on that goal. The Villa game we were winning and then Gimenez, our only striker, went off the pitch and brought Adama on. I understand Silva did it because they play a high line. We were already winning. Maybe we were getting behind, but all that happened was we had no ability to press. And in this league, if you can't press, like you were saying about the Arsenal game, if you
We know.
can't press, you've got no control of the game. You can't dictate the pace or anything. So that was unlucky. The Bournemouth game, a game we were winning. Lukic went off injured, which meant Kearney had to play for nearly the whole game, and we just ran out of legs in midfield. They had two bits of quality and won the game. Newcastle, it was a similar thing. Lukic came back from injury, couldn't finish the whole 90, so he went off, and we started losing the midfield battle, and then we conceded. And then the Everton game was the only game this season, probably the only game under Silva where I genuinely didn't think that we had any fight. We were second best all over, and that is so unusual for a Silva team, which probably tied into all of the speculation going into the international break after that.
Yeah, that made that a really big win at the weekend. Essentially, you're not in trouble at the moment because you've won, I would guess, the 4 home games you'd have said we got to win these. You've won them all
Yeah.
against Leeds, Brentford, Wolves, and Sunderland. So hope for a bit of optimism, or do you look at these next few fixtures and think these are tough games, or do you not?
I don't really, I don't think, I'm not, I know you've said it a few times about us and Palace, like, I don't really, I think we can get a result in any game. To be honest, like, we're always, like, we don't get smashed by any team, usually. So
Oh,
I don't really
thank
look at the
you. I
fixture.
hope you get memed next week. Continue.
It was like, do you remember when Sudge said, we won 5-0, I can't remember who it was against, and
That
then we
was
had West Ham the
yeah.
week after.
Won't get beat 5-0. They lost 5-0 to you. This could be your revenge moment, mate.
Um, no, I think we're not fixture proof, obviously, but we're competitive in every game minus the Everton game. Um, so yeah, the fixtures are what they are. We've
No,
had hard away
I
games
don't
and easier
think
home games.
I don't think anyone expects an easy game off you ever. Actually, reflecting on the Everton game bad, but even that in the Newcastle chat on Slack after you lost there, all the Newcastle guys were like, "Oh, that was a slog, it was rough." Like, I'm glad that's points one and out the board, and we'd probably take that at the weekend, wouldn't we, Ricky? Like a shitty home win under the
Oh,
circumstance, because
oh,
I mean our home form is amazing, mate.
yeah, we need a home win quite badly. Um, it's it's been I haven't even really noticed in many senses how bad it's been this year because it's just been a continuation of last year. We really thought that something would change, and nothing seems to have changed with regards to the home form. But yeah, it's been poor. We haven't even played, top teams either. It's not like we've had a load of really tough games. And the performances haven't been great either.
No, Tottenham's home form doesn't have the excuses. I think Lewis is right. When you actually drill into those Fulham away games, there's like mitigating on all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apart from Everton.
Winning at Bournemouth, winning at Villa, and actually individually in all of these games, you'd have gone into all the games as underdogs. You obviously don't
Yeah.
want to be taking 1 point from 6 away games, but yeah, there were challenging games. And other than the Everton game, yeah, I feel like there's mitigating. There's none of Tottenham's really, Ricky, is there?
No. Bournemouth, maybe they're a really good side. We beat the teams we were expected to beat in Burnley. Wolves was a debacle. Villa, a decent side, but wasn't that their first? Maybe have been their first bloody goal, but certainly their first win of the season.
No, their
Chelsea,
first goal was
fair
against
enough.
Spurs.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they got
scored against them the
okay.
week before.
First win against us then. But no, we've played either good teams in poor form or we've played poor teams, and we still have got virtually nothing to show for it.
So results wise, Fulham don't have a good away record.
No.
Tottenham's home record is a bit of a mess. Is this in must-win territory for Tottenham, Ricky?
I
Especially considering going to Newcastle away next Tuesday as well. That's another place
in
we always do well.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's must win. I don't think that Thomas Frank is under pressure. It's not like his job is on the line. In all honesty, he was. We're still a lot better than what we were last year, certainly position wise in the league, if not performance wise. I don't think his job's in immediate threat, but many more games like we've just seen yesterday, and yeah, it could be. And as I say, we've got PSG. I'm expecting nothing out of that. We've got Fulham, say Newcastle after that. Fulham really is our best chance of a good performance and something to keep the fans quiet. But we could, if it goes badly against Fulham, that could be for another three defeats, four in a row if you include the Arsenal game. Capitulated in right at the very end against United. That's a long time without some positivity, and the fans are already starting to get on his back a little bit. Um, three bad results, or four, if you include yesterday, and it's going to start to get ugly
Well,
really
I
quick.
think this Fulham game is the most important game of our week.
Look, PSG would that's not going to determine whether we qualify or not. Newcastle's not going to determine where we finish in the league. Fulham it is an important game. Also, I don't think it's a must win. It's not a 6 pointer as such. But it could be important in terms of Thomas Frank keeping the fans at least on side. And if what you suggest with the players, they could start really putting pressure on the dressing room as well, if that is the case.
Do you go into this, Lewis, thinking absolutely target 3 points? Or if I offered you a draw now, are you happy with that?
Well, I mean, I know Marco will go into it expecting 3 points because he does in every game, and that's the mentality of the players. That's why we have so many goals from substitutes because the whole squad is so invested in his ideology of playing in the mentality. So, as a fan, you've got to invest in that. You're weak right now, and we need a win away from home just as much as you need a win at home. So, I think both teams have got to go for the win, really. I know it's not a must win, like Ricky was saying, but it's. I think both teams should target a win, and I'm sure Fulham will go there wanting to win just as much as you guys.
It's no reason for teams to come to Tottenham with fear, is there, Ricky?
No, good God, no, no. Even even teams who are in poor form like Wolves, they
Well,
come here.
Wolves should have won the
They
game.
show fight. Yeah, of course they should have done. We were lucky to get away with a draw in that one. But no, nobody right now fears coming to our place. Nobody. And even even though yesterday aside we've had a fantastic away record, the performances haven't been brilliant. So teams shouldn't really fear us coming to their place either. We've done enough to get the results, and there has been some flashes of good performances in there. But I don't think we're a team that anybody should fear at the minute. Heads go down way too quickly, and there seems to be a lot of um, discoordination. That's not a word. I can't think of the word I want, but just there's no cohesion in the performances individually or as a team. Nobody should fear us at the minute. You look down at our fixtures, James, and hand on heart, when do you see? And I'm trying not to be doom and gloom here, but when you take into account how poor our home form is and some of the teams we've got to play away from home, when do you see the next 3 points?
Well, I'm hoping Saturday, mate.
Well, I'm hoping Saturday, but you get Fulham out of the way, and you could be looking to away at Brentford or even home to Sunderland, and we're talking January. we've got a lot of tough games
Once
between
we get
now
the
and then.
Newcastle game out of the way, I think our fixture list does ease up, and it's worth saying Fulham are about to come into a pretty good run soon as well. I think once you get beyond the City and the Crystal Palace games. I don't want to answer that, Ricky. I'm just hoping it'll be Saturday. Lewis, talk to me about Joao Palhinha.
Ugh, you
Adored
know
him
how
at
I
your
feel.
place. I know he was adored by your crowd as well. Is it a style thing?
I
Because
think,
there's no doubt he's an incredible ball winner.
yeah, I think sometimes like I think he might be the perfect player for a mid to relegation sort of team.
We should look good with us then, shouldn't he? Really?
But I think like you were saying, like on Sunday, for example, like he he's better when he's sort of a single. We used to just play him as a single pivot, and essentially, we would press as a five from the front and just leave him there. On Sunday, watching the game, he's essentially just sitting with 10, 11 men behind the ball, and that he's not going to excel in tight, congested areas. Like that's not him. You always used to say that his strides are so long.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's so he needs space to work. It sounds a bit backwards, the fact that you know what I mean? Like, but for him to work, he needs to sort of just sit there and just leave him be.
The
And
irony is, I remember covering a piece on the Talking Tactics I did kind of roughly this time last year, a little bit earlier in the season, where we blew a 2-goal lead at Brighton. And we're showing Bentancur actually being left alone as Tottenham pressed in a single six, and he had to go side to side. No matter which side the ball went, he had to go left half space to right half space. And the player I thought would be ideal to deal with that sort of problem, ironically, Paulinho. You think that stride to get out there, yeah. But
I
yet
messaged
now,
you. I
these two
messaged
players,
you
they're there
when you
together. They don't
signed
look
him.
like they can play together.
I literally messaged you when you signed him, saying that that's a year too late. That was he
Probably,
was such
probably
a
right.
he would have fixed so much for Ange. You think how open you were? I guarantee you would think of Palhinha in a different light than you do now if he was playing
I,
under Ange.
I think you're probably right because I'm looking at the team and I'm wanting someone to play in that area.
Yeah.
Um, I know you said Ange, Ricky. Frank has got to get away from this Benson Paulinho partnership, hasn't he?
Yeah,
He's
it's
got to
not
get away from
working.
it.
They're both really good players individually. Well, they're very good at certain things. They offer something very different, but it's not a two. And yeah, go back to the back four. Park Polina in front of that back four, and then have two midfielders, two central midfielders, and one of them for me has to be Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons and Sarr and Benson Core and Bergval, but Xavi Simons and somebody, and that's where the creativity is going to come from.
Yeah, I don't mind particularly like PSG if he's gonna. I'm not saying go to PSG and just change like that to a single pivot, but the Fulham at home I expect to play with a single pivot,
Yeah.
one or the other. I'm not really tossed which one, just one, please, ideally. I also mentioned Ricky the idea of actually dropping Xavi Simons in really deep to help with ball progression because at least he feels calm when the ball goes into him and he's not actually providing it at the top end for us, is he?
No, he's not. And him kind of playing almost like a quarterback role, seeing everything that's in front of him. He's got a good range of passing. He can find a player. That would work. That really would. And maybe Papsar is great at making them surging forward runs. Even Bergval. So one of them two ahead of him, that could be really beneficial.
I don't think you couldn't ask Xavi Simmons to go and play the sixth position by himself, though.
No, no, no,
It's
no,
still got to
no.
be a two.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Paulina's actually been decent in FPL this season. He's our second highest scorer, Ricky.
yeah, yeah. Anyway,
5.5.
a ball winning central midfielder and a centre back are two leading scorers.
What Tottenham do you own at the moment, Ricky?
None. And I'm on wildcard this week, and it will still be none, I should imagine.
Okay. So you're not tempted by Paulina at 5.5?
No,
You're
no,
not
I'm
tempted.
not in all honesty. Well, I'll have a look at him, but I think there's better options out there. Unfortunately.
Well, I don't think as well. With in comparison to other Defcons, there are cheaper players who will play every game.
Yeah.
Paulina is not going to. So There's clearly
No.
an element of rotation amongst the team because of the Champions League involvement. I'm sure that'll end once we get round into February, March, by the way. So you haven't had Mickey van der Ven this season?
No, I haven't. I had Porro up until a couple of weeks ago. I had who else did I have? I had somebody else. Can't remember who else I had now. It's been that.
Kudus?
No, I haven't. I was probably put off by what you said about he's never going to get a goal, and well
Still feel quite justified on that, by the way.
yeah. If I was gonna if you told me I've got to pick one Tottenham player, there's got to be one in my squad. The one I'd go for would probably be Moane. I know
All right.
he's just come back from. I was amazed. He's meant to be out for a month, and then he's on the bench. So fair play to his powers of recovery, but he hasn't shown anything yet, as in output. But there's flashes there. He is a quality player, and he could explode. I
There's no
really like him as a
way you're
player.
going to wild card and have Randall
Oh,
Cole and Moane
no,
in
no,
your
no,
team,
no, no,
mate.
no. So if you put a gun to head and said you've got to have one Tottenham player, who would it be? I would, and look, that comes with rotation risk as well.
I,
Is
I probably, if you said gun to head at the moment, said get one Tottenham player, I think I'd get Kinski, 3.9 goalkeeper. Just get another goalkeeper you can play every week and not worry about it.
you thinking that Vic's on his way out, do you?
No, no, just leave Kinski's just on the bench every week. I've just got like Sanchez in goal every week or something like that. There's no reason you'd get Kinski over Dubravka. Vicario isn't coming out the team. He's one of the few Tottenham players who feels like he could probably at least hold his head up high in some regard from Sunday, right?
Yeah, look, he's made some howlers, but he's kept us in a lot of games as well. Yeah, his positioning sometimes is questionable. I wish he'd catch the ball more than he punches it, but he's made some really really important saves as well. And no, he's going nowhere. He's first team and he's sorry first choice and he's probably first choice by a distance.
Okay. Lewis, any Tottenham for you at the moment?
Nope.
Any intentions?
Nope.
Okay, sure. Right. So this is actually more a conversation for people who own Tottenham assets if they should keep or sell.
Yeah,
So there will be a few on Vicario, Ricky.
yeah.
Leave that or move it.
If you're on a wild card, you might want to look at moving it. If you're not, then you may as well. I wouldn't burn a transfer to get rid of a goalkeeper.
Okay.
He's going to pick up some save points. He will get the occasional clean sheet. We're not bad defensively. We're not an awful side defensively. I know the
This
weekend
isn't
may
ringing
say
true this week,
otherwise.
Ricky, but continue.
Yeah, but no, he's gonna tick over. So if you've got him, keep him. Unless you're on a wild card, but it's probably time to move him on.
Okay. Mickey van der Ven.
No reason to get rid of him. He's gonna steady stream of points, the odd assist, the more than the odd goal as we've seen, and he'll get some clean sheet points every now and then.
But you wouldn't consider him.
He's definitely a consideration, but I don't think he's going to make it.
Okay. Because with someone like him, particularly if you bought at 4.5, I suppose there is a rotation here you can look at and you go, right, I'll play him in the home games, which Tottenham evidently do well in, such as Fulham, Brentford, bench him at Newcastle. There are little bits here in the planning that you could potentially look at. And he's a defender that's obviously is capable of the haul. As
Oh,
we've said.
absolutely, yeah. But he's proved that. Just he's kind of at that range. For my like third and fourth, fourth and fifth defenders, I want something a bit cheaper. I want to put the funds into elsewhere, and he may not make it as one of the three centre backs, or sorry, three defenders in my team.
Okay. Porro owners, keep, sell. I mean, that felt more like I don't want to say a one off him not starting at Arsenal, but I don't think it's all Porro's second choice now.
No, 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 no.
I think he just picked the most physical team he could.
Yeah, it was a tactical thing. Porro is first choice. I was really high on Porro at the start of the year, and I had him, and he was one of the absolute non-negotiables. He's got to be in my side. Corners, free kicks, the returns just haven't been there. He's good for a goal every now and then as well. Just hasn't been there. You're relying on him at the minute for clean sheets, and there's not enough of them to justify his price.
Okay. Mohamed Kudus owners.
I, he's so good. He's such a good player to watch.
But
No, there's no. Well, just the output isn't there. But that's not necessarily his fault. He's working with shite essentially in the box. When look, if Mwani picks up, or if Solanke comes back, if Solanke's even alive still, then he'll be much more attractive because he's actually got someone decent to aim at. At the minute, he's firing in balls and there's nobody anywhere near him.
Sell or keep?
I'll probably keep. I wouldn't buy him, but I wouldn't rush to sell him either. He's still going to get you stuff. We're still going to score some goals, and he's going to be involved in most of them.
Okay. If you were free hitting this week, Ricky, do you think you'd go any Tottenham? There are a number of people on free hit this week.
Yeah, I'd possibly would be Van der Ven, because of Fulham's away records. I could see us keeping them out quite not comfortably, but if we won that game to nil, or it was a 0-0, I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Does Christian Romero being suspended change any of that?
Normally, I'd say yes, but it's just what's like with Romero. I love Romero, right? Kuti, he's brilliant. He kind of exudes all the passion, but he's a fucking head case, and he's as capable of making a mistake as anybody else in that side. I'm not going to pretend I'm glad he's out. Of course, I'm not. We're a better team with him in, but Danso he doesn't bring the ability, but he brings, I think, a calmer feeling to that back line. And I don't see Danso going through somebody on the edge of the box or even in the box.
By the way, Lewis, if you press, it's not karma on Danso. Just you can pass that tip to Marco Silva for free, mate. But is Kevin Danso 4.3 an option for free hitters? Is that
No,
presumably?
Well, for free hitters.
He's going to play.
He's going to start, yeah.
4.3.
Yeah. Why not? I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think we can nick it to nil. So yeah, you've got the way that we defend as well. You're going to have some potential, some defcons in there. Decent in the air. You might even pick up an assist from one of his ridiculous long throws that just hasn't seemed to have worked in any way at all in any game that I've seen him use it. Not his fault, but I don't know why we're persisting with it. It's fucking rubbish.
I think Danso as like fifth defender, leave last on the bench is pretty reasonable this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, as a player, I like him.
I actually think if you did fancy Tottenham for a clean sheet this week, Danso surely is the pick at 4.3. If you're struggling for money, a number of people are going to free hit
save
this week.
A couple of pips over Van der Ven, yes, definitely, because he's got to play. 100% he'll play.
Well, a number of people are going to free hit and try and force Salah and Haaland in, aren't they? So these little bits here, if you have 4.3 in, small chance of defcon, small chance of clean, small chance for attack in return. I think it's okay for 1 week.
Yeah, but he's probably going to be. Well, he's almost definitely going to be on the bench. Just whether you're unlucky enough with injuries or rotation or whether he gets put in.
Yeah, okay. Back Brennan Johnson on free hit.
Oh, Brennan
He's
Johnson.
suspended for the game in Paris, Ricky.
Yeah, so
he starts Saturday, doesn't he?
I think he does, and we have a go at Brennan Johnson quite a lot. You especially.
Rightly so.
He scores goals. Look, he might not be very good, and he might be missing the entire game, and for that reason, he's not a fantasy option, I don't think. But he gets himself in a good position at least once in a game, and a lot of times that results in him scoring a goal, or putting in a fantastic ball. I'm not going to rush to him, but. Yeah, he's for a free hit, a one-off punt. He's a really good option. He will play. They're guaranteed to play pretty much.
I think you're probably right. And I think also there's a consequence on this that Kudus might not start on Saturday night. Remember, Tottenham go to Newcastle on Tuesday. So it's a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday turnaround. Is anyone going to play all 4 games? I wonder even about Micky and maybe even like Newcastle away next week, for example. So Johnson, you would think with a clear break, he's not played Sunday, bar minimal minutes. He's not going to play on Wednesday because he's suspended. There's every chance he starts Saturday. The problem is, if you're on free hit, picking him over others with good fixtures like Doku, similar price, Morgan Rogers, similar price. Are you picking him over these guys?
I over Doku, probably not. Rogers, yeah, like, I know Rogers scored 2 goals at the weekend. From what I heard from people today, he was shit. I mean,
That free
when I
kick
watched the game.
was the keeper on that free kick. I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
he can't see it, mate. I'm going to defend him.
it's in the middle of the goal.
He can't see it.
It's poor.
But
Poor.
what I've heard is that it
Lewis,
wasn't
try.
that.
Just stand there and see how you get on, mate.
But yeah, no, I heard he didn't play well. He scored 2 goals, but he didn't play well. It wasn't a good performance. He just happened to be in the right place twice, which look, it's all you need to do. But he's not in good form.
Okay.
I'd be very wary of going with it.
So,
Any
so if
Villa.
you were free hitting this week, you tell me you pick Brennan Johnson over Morgan Rogers.
Well, yeah,
I wasn't expecting positivity out of this, Ricky.
yeah, no, neither was I. I can't believe I'm saying this. Look, yeah, no, I would. Brennan's actually when he comes on, or when he's been playing, he hasn't been playing too badly. Certainly not a worse player, and he's certainly been having a better season than Morgan Rogers, I'd say as well. Um,
What for splinters in his bum? What's weird with Johnson is that it is true. I have to admit, and I actually acknowledged on one of the podcasts on Monday that I did reflect on it and think actually we didn't have any in behind threat. We probably could have. He probably actually would have been useful at Arsenal.
yeah,
He does score goals,
he was our
and
leading goal
we're
scorer last
struggling
year.
to score goals.
You know, he was our leading goal scorer, and that didn't happen by accident.
Right, if you lot stick him in on your free hit, he's going to start, but he's going to get subbed off after about 57 minutes when he's absolutely
Yeah,
when we're calling and needing Kudus.
he's not playing 90 minutes. We can all be sure of that.
Okay. Lewis, I've got Joachim Andersen, but I'm on
Yeah.
wild card. And I don't think he's going to make it. What do
Okay.
you think?
But who's he not making it over?
Well, I guess maybe I'll rephrase the question. Do you think he's the best defender in the game at around about his price?
Is it is it like to play in certain games? It's not like starting every week.
No.
Then I think our home form is so good that I think I would probably just have him in. It's if it was up to me. I mean, I don't have him, but I probably wouldn't be rushing to get rid of him because I just think he's a safe option that you can just throw in against anyone. You know.
I don't disagree with that. The problem I have is when I look at your home games, next five, City, Palace, Forest, Liverpool, Chelsea. That's your next five home games. So how much would I be using him? And it's not me not picking him maybe for another 4.5. I like, for example, Van Heck, Vandenberg rotation, but might not be going for anyone at that value. I might literally be going up as in my cheapest is like Lacroix.
Yeah, I mean that's just where you look at the fixtures more than me when it comes to Fulham because the fixtures might not look amazing, but I think we'll keep at least one clean sheet in that run that you've just said. But that's just the way I look at it.
Well, I got him in for these two home games, Lewis, and I'm delighted to have got 16
All
points
right
out of
then.
him. So
Yeah.
it's worked absolutely great. It's not necessarily want to cut. I think he probably is the best overall 4.5 full 4/5 defender, brilliant cover for
Yeah.
you. I don't know if I want to start him every week. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean I probably wouldn't start him every week, but I think if you needed to play him in the home games because of rotation over Christmas or whatever, then I don't see how it could be a bad thing.
Is it still the case that he's the best defensive? There's no point having this Bassi, Tete conversation or anything
No,
like
I
that.
mean Tete is first choice, but Castagna will get minutes when the fixtures ramp up. Um, Bassi's going to AFCON, and I don't, I wouldn't be surprised. I was actually surprised that Bassi played at the weekend because he played. Nigeria had 2 games over the internationals, both went to extra time, and he played every single minute. So I was quite surprised that he came straight back in. I thought Cuenca would play, he didn't. Um, and then Sessegnon is first choice now because, like you were saying about Solanke, Robinson appears to be having a funeral at some point. Supposedly he was back in training last week with the first team.
That's right. Solanke was
Oh,
doubtful 4 months ago, mate.
but supposedly Robinson was supposed to be back for the second half of pre-season. So
Do you think Session will get the first goal or the last goal at the weekend?
I hope he gets the first and the second.
He might. It's a shame that actually he's not in the game as a defender. Can you consider
Yeah.
him 5.4 midfielder?
If nah, like you say, I mean, if he was a defender and he was five, then I think you'd do a lot worse. But no, and with him being a midfielder, it just kills him as an asset.
Okay. Talk to me about Raul Jimenez. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I heard it on the pod
He's not
earlier.
out the running for me. And this is just a natural kind of progression from many conversations we've had of Muniz, Jimenez, unfortunately just going to eat too much of each other. Muniz is out at least until the new year, possibly as long as
February,
February.
mid-February is
Yep.
ETA.
That's what I've heard. The long term fixtures, I think, are pretty good, especially in the sense that your tougher games are at home. So the away games are pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm interested in Raul Jimenez. I need convincing, however, that he's worth paying the money over Igor Thiago or Danny Welbeck at a similar price.
Well, I mean, you'll definitely be a bigger differential on the two of them, and FPL is all about winning, so that would be
So it's also about points, Lewis.
no, like he's gonna get. I think he's gonna have to play like near on 90 minutes every game because brought in Jonah Kusiasare, young Swedish striker from Bayern, and Silva just doesn't seem to think he's ready. It's a bit of a strange one because it's only a loan. There is an option there, I think, but Silva's not here next season, then it's pretty pointless having an option, isn't it? Um, so yeah, he's gonna have to play a lot, especially with AFCON because you're gonna lose a Iwobi and Chukwueze. So
You're
even
going to
the
be light
forwards, you're
there,
gonna
mate.
be. Hmm?
You're going to be light over that period, really.
Yeah, I mean, gonna have Gimenez, Kevin, King, Smith Rowe, Traore, and Wilson, sort of in
If
that.
they all stay fit, none of them
And
players are injury prone in any way.
yeah, and if Robinson is back in the next month, then
You could push Session
Sessignon
on that.
can be used higher up, which will help. Um, but yeah, I would take a punt on Jimenez. He's going to play a lot of the minutes, and we have been better. And minus the Everton game, we're just going to ignore the Everton game. But apart from the Everton game, we've actually been creating a lot more. And Jimenez was supposedly had a knock after the Villa game when he went off. He was out for one game, and then Silva just kept saying that he had a knock, had a knock. So we all thought he wouldn't go on internationals with Mexico because they're obviously already in the World Cup. So it was just friendlies. He ended up flying over there and nearly playing two full 90s, supposedly carrying a knock. Um, but he was really good on Saturday. He looks really up for it, which is good to see. And I would take a punt, like you say, or we'll give anyone a good game at home. And the way that we play, Silva needs a striker, and the strikers do get the opportunities. Um, and the away fixtures are better, so I'd expect it to be more competitive in the away games as well.
Despite the fact the beautiful green fixture that you have this weekend, I do think it's probably a wait when I see Thiago playing Burnley and at a similar price, and I know the values there. I think when we hit game week 16, everyone's got five free transfers.
Mhm.
Make a strong case, Lewis, to say that the 3 weeks after that, you've got Burnley, Forest, West Ham. Admittedly,
Yeah.
that the first and last of that is away. That might be the best 3 game run. So when we hit game week 16, I think we're really looking at your players potentially. And that will come at a point for, say, for Welbeck owners, Brighton go to Liverpool. Okay, look at Gimenez. Problem is, Thiago also walks into Leeds and Wolves at the
Yeah.
same time. So you two, Brentford and Fulham, kind of go right to the top of my ticker when we hit game week 16. But I'm not against the idea of having both at that period. But then that means like no Mateta, for example, and spreading some money
Yeah.
elsewhere. Yeah, Jimenez appeals to me just on a minutes basis now. I'm quite
Yeah.
interested in that. I'm also really interested in Josh King, who I've owned all season. I don't know how I've had nothing out of him particularly, mate.
Yes.
Is he going to stay in the team from a minutes perspective? I guess first and foremost, do you think he starts at Tottenham with Lukic back from suspension?
I mean, it's a weird one because I always say with when you play Berg and Lukic together, like for all of their stability, they seem to like almost get in each other's way to go anywhere up the field. Like you get no creativity out of them. We played a Wobie in the
Sorry,
eight.
are you still talking about Fulham or are you talking about Tottenham?
We played a Wobie in the eight with Berg in the six, and Berg was breaking into the box multiple times. And I know I mean, I can't really say it's only Sunderland when we've got Tottenham this week from a
Well, he
fixture
went there.
point of view. But I wonder if sometimes I think they're just getting each other's way. And if it was up to me, I think you're there to have get at. And I don't particularly think we need both Berg and Lukic to overrun that midfield. I would rather play Iwobi against whatever you put in that middle. I think we'll be more than
And
competitive.
then what King, like sort of right
I
half
would
to
say
base 10?
King. I mean, Smith Rowe's a weird one because he's obviously been bought in to start, and then he had a good start to last season, and then he got injured over Christmas, and he just never really he just looked like he lost his confidence. And then you think, all right, he didn't have a full preseason. He's gonna have a full preseason this summer, hit the ground running, and then King sort of just starts preseason, and he offers so much more than what Smith Rowe has ever offered.
Smith
Um,
Rowe's got more goals than him this season.
yeah, but I mean, King has been so unlucky on
He
multiple
has.
occasions. Like if you look at the Chelsea goal, well, that's all I'll say. There was a handball that Matty Cash did in the Villa game when we were 1-0 up, and I mean, I don't understand that rule anymore. I mean, that rule is, it is what it is. And then he obviously gets the Wolves player sent off when he's through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So he's not had returns, but if anyone's actually watched him, then if for Fulham, maybe not for FBL, but for Fulham in particular, he is a massive part of it.
Oh, he's a super talent. No one's questioning that. I guess from an FPL perspective, the two at that price range, the real cheapest midfielders, it's between him and Potts at West Ham. And I
Yeah.
think the difference between the two is Potts will get the occasional DEFCON and he does look like locked in, like he's going to keep the shirt now, which isn't the case with King. But King's got more upside and more appeal. Like it could be
Yeah.
really good.
The problem with King is there's been two games away from home this season where he's just got randomly benched, Newcastle and Everton. And he came on a half time in the Newcastle game. We were terrible in the first half. He came on and we were much better. And then in the Everton game, I didn't really understand the setup in the Everton game. Like he keeps benching him, and he's not. It never works.
But it's interesting. Those are difficult away games on paper, maybe even a physicality element actually with those two teams. I wouldn't be wanting to start Josh King in those kind of games anyway. I want to
Yeah.
start Josh King not in the Forest at
I
home
mean,
and stuff like
Josh
that.
King is way more physical than Smith Rowe because Smith Rowe's too scared to get injured. He plays. Unfortunately, he plays like a person who has had injury issues. King is still only 18 and he plays with that fearlessness that an 18-year-old does. So the fact that you think that you can't play King away at Everton or away at Newcastle, but you can play Smith Rowe, that just it doesn't make sense to me. And it
All
didn't
right.
work. So I
Decide for
suspect
me
it
then,
will
Lewis.
happen.
Fifth midfielder on my wild card, King or Potts?
King. This game's about having fun and having pots. Doesn't sound like fun to me.
I might go both. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Let's do some correct score predictions before we finish. Ricky, how many will Paris Saint-Germain get on Wednesday night?
At least three, probably four.
And how many will we get?
None.
Okay. Correct
No,
score prediction.
I reckon 3-0. I reckon for PSG. Fulham, I think we might just sneak a 1-0.
Lewis.
I'm gonna go 1-1 because I'm sick of predicting what a win and never. Is this why you got me on this? I've just realized that I have a
It's
0%.
taken you about 50
Yeah,
minutes to
I
realise.
have a
So
0% winning record on this pod.
this is this is the desperation of a Tottenham fan.
To,
So
to be fair, James normally gets me on for Arsenal and Chelsea and City and things
I
like
mean
that. So
this could take Dr. Tottenham to a whole new level here because so far in your year and a bit with us, Lewis, in I want to say 8 appearances, maybe now COTC. It's at least this is at least your 7th. No wins, and it's worth saying you had 5 home games in that last year, and every single one of them was winnable. I think
Yeah.
you only lost like 6 times at home last year, and 4 of them were COTC previews.
Yeah, I think it
So
was only the Arsenal game at home last season that was probably a one where we weren't
when,
expected to get anything.
when you were last on COTC was when you went to Villa and you refused to talk up any positivity. You were like, I'm a jinx, rare, rare, rare. You lost, and for some reason, you've completely forgot about it. Yes, the reason you're sitting here with Ricky is because we're desperate. Thank you, mate.
Let's see which curse is bigger.
Absolutely done us now. With no way we win in this game.
Ricky, anything you want to plug?
Um, as always, well, this is going to add to the Patreon, so there's no point plugging Patreon. But if for some reason you're listening to this, you've listened to a mate's one and you haven't got Patreon, make sure you get it. It's brilliant.
Cheers, mate. Lewis.
Just Jack Kelly. I get a lot of messages about Fulham team news, and if you just follow Jack Kelly on Twitter, he posts. He's got a press pass. He's always there at the Fulham press conferences, so he'll have all the team news on there. You don't
Nice.
have to
Is that
message
his
him.
handle as well?
Yes, I believe. I think it's at Jack Kelly. Let me just get it up.
Because that's a decent little plug, mate, to give someone out. Has he got a
Uh,
lot to count? Because that would be really amazing.
at Jack Kelly FFC.
Jack Kelly FFC. Right. Okay. Good plug. Thank you for that, mate. That's much appreciated. One more COTC for you tomorrow. It is Lee Jackson with Bradley Parker, who's got a new manager. We're previewing Aston Villa versus Wolves. Just leave me to say, Ricky, Lewis, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck. Say it, please, Ricky.
Come on, Tottenham.
Cue music, please, man. Show.